So welcome to the Terminology Leading Practices stream of the SNOMED CT Expo 2023. My name is Sarah Warren and I'm a terminologist at SNOMED International, and I will be moderating today's session. So all questions will be answered at the conclusion of the presentation. For online attendees, please use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenter. For on-site attendees, please use the microphone in the center of the room. So I'm now pleased to introduce Monica, Harry and Nikki Ingram, as well as Julie and Hannah, who will be presenting Enhancing Medicinal Product Content in SNOMED CT. So Monica and Nikki, please go ahead.
Thanks, Sarah. So yeah, we want to talk to you and share with you the work that we've been doing in our project, Enhancing Medicinal Product Content in SNOMED CT. So I have to put my glasses on because although that print is large, I actually can't read it. So basically, we're going to tell you a bit about how the project got started. That is why we decided to launch this drug content analysis project. And then we're going to tell you what is the project, and then a bit about progress to date, the work that we've been doing, and then the work that we're planning ahead, and then the future of the drug content, international drug content as it stands, going forward in the future. And I do want to also just take this time to thank Hanny, who has put in a lot of work providing us with the candidate content from the Norwegian extension. So thank you, Hanny, that's much appreciated. And this is a really good example of our collaboration efforts and the kind of work that we'd like to continue doing in the future with members. And collaboration is key. We're beginning to believe that more and more. And if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's an African proverb. I didn't create that statement. And I think next we're going to hear from Julie. Julie's not with us today, but we have a recording. And so Julie will carry on with the next part of basically the background and info about where the project came from and what we're doing. And I think I pressed this button. Oh, I went the wrong way. How's that? It will start in a moment, I believe.
Thank you, Monica. So just a little history to explain why DCAP is happening. And to quote from a very famous series of films, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, although actually not that long ago, only October 2020, and not quite so far away. It was in the meeting similar to this, but completely in lockdown when we should have been in Portugal but weren't. In October 2020, the DEUSG started, the Drug Extension User Support Group, the wonderfully named group that was really focused or is focused on providing implementers of the SNOMED CT drug model and drug extension model with a forum to share real-world experiences, challenges, questions, together with folk from SNOMED International. And those meetings had quite a strong pattern. There were two very particular points. We discussed the model itself and its editorial policies, and we learned together and informed each other, and particularly, for example, how to find documentation, which is a bit of a challenge in those days, but also about hearing real life implementations, people saying, this is what we're doing, and these are the challenges and questions that we have. And it was open to any stakeholder around the drug extension model. And we actually took a poll of that stakeholder community and collected a list of the challenges from members with examples, and up to 50 of you took part in that and prioritized your top 3 challenges. For example, core CDs don't match my dose forms, and that led on to work such as the EDQM mapping project. And those challenges actually got ranked because we asked for your top 3. And the first of those was greater coverage of CDs in the core. And of all of those, we worked through, as I said, all sorts of things, the hydration policies, the EDQM mapping. You will hear, you will have heard in the business meeting that cord CDs don't match my product's presentation strength is still a very hot topic and one that has been discussed. But we needed to encourage that greater coverage of CDs through CRS requests, clarifying the policy for what we can include, but also doing some more because we were clear that if we were just working from CRS requests, it could take a very long time and a galaxy a very far way to bring that content coverage to where you, the members, would like it. And as Monica has alluded to, we received this offer of regular help from Norway and support from other members in the community about what we could do together to address the challenge. And so in September of last year, there was the birth of the DCAP, the Drug Content Analysis Project, to directly address this issue from the members about greater coverage of clinical drugs in the core.
I think this is where I take over. So just press forward and here we are. Okay, I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview of what did we do? Where did we pick up the ball after that? We did a pilot approach to a process to see if it would work and why did we do it this way? Because members use the national drug content module or model more so for their specific needs, but hopefully this will all be part of a greater system to the international content so that we are able to exchange at least some level the information that we have in common in an abstract generic way. And the thought of the group was that most likely some countries have made the content that we need in their extensions. Could we just pull this into the international instead of making it anew or waiting for CRS requests to fill the void? And why our basis for analysis was the drug content in the Norwegian extension, because we I work in the Norwegian NRC with the drug content there. We didn't have time to wait for the content we needed when we were in a project and we were implementing and starting to use SNOMED in the drug area. So we made quite a lot of things. We have a lot that's national, which is great, but we want to make sure that other people can use it as well. So our starting point was we had quite a lot. We don't use the extension model, the drug extension model. We use the international model with some kind of twists where we need them, but altogether we stay at the CD level. So hopefully we could have some content that would match the international model. And also my previous boss was ever so kind as to donate my time on my behalf to this project. So we also were willing to give our resources to make it happen. So that's why that is our basis. We had a starting point. And I'm going to address this a bit later as well, but it's not that we say that we have everything you need in the list that we send out for every kind of drug. It's somewhere to start. It's at least something. It's going to be better than what we have, which is nothing or some very small parts of your needs, and then we can top it up. We would love to get more content in there from other extensions where you have it. So how we work is we start by everything in a certain definition of drugs, either by substance or by disposition or something. We played around a bit with the approach, but we choose kind of a theme. Then I generate everything, and then we peel back the ones that are not relevant for inclusion in the international edition, and then Nikki will talk a bit about that later. And then we quality check that we have actual product references for these abstract representations, because SNOMED needs to know that this is something that exists. It's not something we made up. And then we send those lists with that information out for review for the members of the group or whoever would like to go through and review them, where they can say, okay, yes, we have this, or we don't have it, but we support the inclusion because we can see the need and we know that this is an actual product, even if it's not in our markets, or no, we don't support this inclusion and we don't think we need it. And the ones that make it through the needle, they are migrated to the international edition in quite a seamless way. And we've worked a lot with the development team in SNOMED International to make this work. And it's been pretty great, actually. After some trial and error, we're really getting somewhere. So that might be transferable to other work we do, community-based work at later stages, such as the organisms have done a bit of the same. Maybe we can use this process for faster collaboration with the members rather than going through this painstakingly long process of doing the CRS. So how do we get the sets? We use ECL. We query a Swagger installation we have to a Snowstorm server in Norway with the Norwegian edition or extension rather. And the fact that we can use ECL and now ECL 2.0 it means that we have a great range of possibility for how to define our subsets and what to include and exclude. And we can play with that approach. So what we've done is to the best of our knowledge, this is maybe something that could be lacking. Let's start there, but we can expand or we can contract that query as we like. The topics we've covered so far, we've had the anti-infectives completed, the list. We had quite a few. You'll get the numbers any minute now. I want to thank you to everyone who participated and helped us because we've actually gotten quite a lot into the international edition, and it was a great test for us to see if this could work. And currently rolled out is the non-insulin medicinal products for treatment of diabetes mellitus, anti-diabetics that are not insulins. And if anyone wants to go through them, review them, please let us know. We have our own page in Confluence, the DCAP. If you just search for it, you will get access to the documents as soon as you ask for it. And then we want to know what next. We have suggested anticonvulsants, and until we hear someone screaming very loudly for something else, we're just going to go ahead with that unless there's any precarious things. This is the workflow that you will see at the DCAP pages. We kind of work through. We start with a set, we give them to the members, and they review and press in a simplified way, green or red, do you want it in or not? And based on needs, not everyone uses CDs or in the capacity that we do. So maybe you want to review MPF only and MPE only, you can do that. But we would need the references to the product still, but trying to adjust it so that everyone can participate at the level that would benefit them. And then just before I sit down again and give it to Nikki, we want more. So teamwork makes the dream work. Please, if anyone has content in the substrate of medicinal products that we are working on, add them to the list and we can review them. Other people can review them and we can pack it all in there and you guys don't have to change your IDs. It gets migrates, less management, benefits on benefits. So please just add to it so we can get even more into the international edition. And now Nikki will take you through some numbers.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nikki. I'm the author that was tasked with adding this to SNOMED CT. So this is where I joined. And on the left are the 140 pilot concepts from Norway. And I mean, there's not that big numbers, but this shows the ones that India and Ireland, who reviewed the content, had in their extension. They could evidence, and so they would be quite easy to batch upload to the international edition. So that's what I did with the help from Peter Williams in the technical team, and 54 clinical drugs were added just automatically because they'd already been approved, 3 countries, evidenced, and I mean a check that they did match editorial guidance. There were several reasons why the clinical drugs, as I've just mentioned, editorial guidance, why a large number couldn't be added. We've got quite strict guidance for adding clinical drugs. And here's the main reasons why we couldn't add clinical drugs by batch. They may have used a hydrate. And in the international edition of SNOMED CT, we've got guidance that clinical drugs don't use hydrates in their definition or naming if the hydrated substance is the precise active ingredient only, unless the BOS, the basis of strength, is also a hydrate, and that's a very rare occurrence. So basically, we don't add hydrates in the international edition. I put a couple of examples there from the Norwegian extension. Another reason was that there's a number of dose forms that are reserved for national extensions only. And I put an example there, conventional release solution for infusion or injection. And we have a different method in the international edition where we'd add infusion and or injection dose form with 2 subtypes. So there's a mismatch there. And the third reason was in the national extension, some clinical drugs were modeled as, well, I put X for Y for Z, but that's our sort of shorthand for the guidance. It's powder for concentrate for solution for infusion. And we can't maintain that model in the international edition. So that clinical drug will be added as powder for solution for infusion in the international edition. And this gives you an idea of the kind of issues between adding drugs that are in the national extension and uploading them to the international. So we decided that we would, you can't change drugs that are published in the national extension. So we decided that we would just add them manually if they were needed in a form that would match the editorial guidance. So I actually did this through the DCAP project. And it took a long time because you have to evidence it, and SPC, summary of product characteristics, fill in, the use case. You probably all know that it's quite a lengthy process. However, I did add another 17. So altogether, I think we've added 71 new anti-infective drugs, which can be used, worldwide. So it's not huge numbers, but this was a pilot, and we had some learning points. So we'd added all these concepts that didn't match international guidance to the list. So going forward, we're just going to exclude those. It was kind of, we'll take those out. Missing substances held up Peter's batch process. So we've changed, and now Hani checks. And if the substance isn't in the international edition, we create that first, which has really sped up the process. The next one is my own plea, which is in a national extension, you don't have MP containing type medicinal product, MP medicinal product concepts. That's because the international edition is open world, and a national extension, which is facing clinical care, is closed world. So there's no need for the MP containing. So it meant that I was having to create them. And I've actually got a ticket, and technical are working on making that automated, but that added to the length of time as well. It's one of the issues. And we did find that Peter could import MP only, medicinal product form only from Norway if they were missing in the international automatically, and he's changed the script to do that. So that was quite helpful. And the actual list, this is a final learning point, was really too long. When we had the process that the countries had to evidence every clinical drug, that means research, provide an SPC, as well as check their own extension. Is it a real drug? You know, so that was the final learning point. So will I continue? Yeah.
Sure, thank you. So really just to wrap up, we're continuing on with the project. As we said, the next area we're going to do is the anticonvulsant, and really just basically asking for people to contribute where they think it's appropriate. And yeah, any questions, I guess, is the next stage.
Yes, anyone in the room got any questions? If you want to use the microphone in the middle. I think we have one or two online, so we can start with those. So the first question is, can other countries promote their concepts through DCAP?
Yes, they can. We would like them to submit them via our Confluence page. Have we got a spreadsheet there for people to populate? You want to tell? Yeah.
So we're just thinking to keep it simple, stupid as our friend here. We have the spreadsheets open and thinking just put your content down, keep adding to the list. We can add a little like header to say other editions or other extensions, and just add them down there in the same pattern. And we will review, like reverse the process. So I will review them for my version, whatever is populated going down, so we can have like a double control. So making it easier. The spreadsheets are out there. They're on our Confluence page. The links to them, I will grant you access when you ask for it, and just add them down, and we will work on them as we finish up each subject. And you'll be notified of what will make it through. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Any other questions in the room? We have, oh yeah, Jim, go ahead.
So I actually just got a comment. This particular project and the microbiology project are two good examples of multiple member countries working with SNOMED to try and consolidate information that's in their national extensions that they would love to see made international, and rather than extensions duplicating content for their own needs. So this is kind of a marketing plea for other areas within the terminology where people see some similarities in the content that they've got in their extensions, to now that we have kind of a format on how to do this with two projects under our belt, I think it would be good for other countries that have other areas that they would like to work into to work under this kind of a policy. So just an encouragement for other groups other than drug people and organism people to work in this area.
Thanks, Jim. We do have one more question. What has been the main obstacle to promoting from a national extension to the international edition of SNOMED CT?
I'll probably let Nikki answer that. I think I know the answer is probably to do with the modeling, but
Could you repeat that, sir?
Yes. What has been the main obstacle to promoting from a national extension to the international edition of SNOMED CT?
I mean, I've kind of gone over that. It's the editorial guidance in international, there's a mismatch with the national extensions. That's the main reason. I'm just thinking that when I added them, I mean, of course, you have to check for duplicates, and they may be in slightly different form in the international edition than the national extension. And I mean, it's just missing content that held us up, missing dose forms, missing substances. I think that was the main. I mean, we'd already really reviewed the content before we even proposed to either batch upload it or add it through CRS.
I'll just make a comment about generally content coming from extensions and certainly specific to drugs. the biggest thing is having the authoritative reference from a manufacturer that explains what this actually is. It's not just something that's for sale somewhere, you know, on a website or in a magazine ad or something. It's an actual product that's manufactured and there's regulatory information so that we know for sure there's no clinical risk attached to it. As far as we're concerned, it's a real thing. I think that's for generally from extensions. But for this particular project, I think Nikki was talking about the things that you dealt with.
Super, thank you very much. We have one more question. Yeah, go ahead.
So there was one slide that was showing that there were a few drugs that were in the Norwegian and Irish and the other places. If that gets promoted to the international, does one of the identifiers get chosen over the others? Or is everyone out of luck and a new identifier is created at the international level and everyone has to?
No, that's the point. When we started the project, we asked for volunteers. Norway came forward. So because Hanny's been doing all the work, Norway keeps their ID. So if you want your ID in there, get your stuff on the spreadsheet. So it's first past the post, I'm afraid, at this stage. Yeah. Now, if everybody at the same time put things in, that's a whole different discussion. But for this project, it's the Norwegian ID that we're retaining for those that are approved.
Super. It looks like we're coming to the end of time on this session. So thank you again, Monica, Nicola, Julie and Hannah. Online delegates can join another session through the event lobby. Thank you very much.